Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day. Want to welcome all of you to SKTV. Welcome this morning. As we said yesterday, we are having some serious technical problems in terms of alerts on your gadgets. So please help us share the show. Welcome to SKTV. Sorry for being late for a few minutes. Sorry for being late. We had to settle some things here in the back. But we are here today, as we promised that we will be here. Welcome to SKTV. Welcome to the show. Share the show. Invite someone. Today, it's promising that we'll have some very interesting conversation here. Please share the show. Very, very interesting conversations here. Have a lot to talk about, a lot to dive into. But welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Welcome to SKTV. Today is a good day. Today is a good day. Today is Monday, April 4th, 2022. Welcome to the show. Welcome to each and every one of you from wherever you're watching us. Today is promising that, again, we would have an interesting time here. I want to use the word good show. Today we are going to be looking into our different presidents, both past and present, and what's going on. Today we have a huge talking point. A very, very huge talking point. At some point, we have one or two people join us to tap onto the conversation here. But in the meantime, we want to welcome all of you from around the world, those in Australia, those in Europe, Asia, Africa, the Americas. We want to welcome all of you. Welcome to the show. Every time you see me laughing, that means there's some serious noise going on. I want to welcome you to today's edition. We want to greet the Liberian people. We've always recognized the Liberian people as the most important people on earth. At some point, maybe Mr. Cannon would be joining us at some point. If not, we are totally aware that most of the times on Thursdays, he's not available, especially with the fasting going on. I know I haven't been able to see Mr. Cannon. He's been very, very busy. Yesterday, we were fortunate to catch him. He's been very, very busy. Even to talk on the phone set, we talk for a few minutes here and there, very, very busy. At this time of the year, I know that's one of the busy times. Telvi has also been very busy. She might pop in. I know she traveled for work. We spoke not too long ago, just to update you about the other panelists, so you guys don't feel like the other panelists are not coming. They should come, but we have a lot to talk about. This morning, I was able to bring noise on my page. I smoked out some Unity Party people. Well, folks, it's part of the conversation. As we get towards the elections, we'll be having some of these conversations. We'll be writing on our pages or other places and so forth. I think I was also very interactive this morning with some CDC folks who think that after 5 years of lying and promises, they will still lie and promise. People are justifying the darkness. As reading a post from my friend Eugene Fagon, making no sense, talking about the airport. The airport is not dark. Darkness is in the airport. Brother, at the end of the day, it ends in darkness. What a darkness in the airport in the darkness, or it ends in darkness, my friend. Stop making foolery of yourselves. Just stop it. Just stop it, especially grown men and women. Just stop that. After what, 5 years, you're still passing around thinking that you can convince people with these foolish conversations and these foolish lies, like that children you're dealing with. But come on, man. Yo, come on, let's get serious for once. Let's get this thing rolling. And these are some of the things that have kept this government to where it is today, because you get people think that this is a tit for tat or this is some kind of nonsense little game. You are in control of the government. You are leading, and you are competing with people who you are leading. What sense does that make? Oh, the opposition can say this, so we'll say this too. I mean, then you might as well not even be, in leadership if you're going to do that, because it doesn't make any sense. Maybe to me it doesn't make sense, but we can bring it to the word. It really, really doesn't make any sense. Today we'll dive into the op-ed of Linda Greenfield. We'll talk about Linda Greenfield here a little bit more about who she is, as some of you are already aware. A very big, high-profile American representative, ambassador to the UN. So, her sayings, we'll dive into it as to what it really means on a global stage, since our brothers and our sisters think that this is a joke. This is not a joke. If you need help, you need help. And the governance process is very important for our country at this point. A friend of mine and I were having a serious conversation about whoever takes over next, some of the challenges they're going to have, and some of the things that we're laughing with today, we're joking with. And sometimes I'll see the presidential aide Carrasco writing, we inside, we do this, we do that. They don't know what they're doing to the country and the future of the country. He's a young man, and they're around thinking that everything will just settle for today. You got Mr. McGill passing around, donating money or making pledges or whatever it is. Liberians, we're hard to learn. Liberians, we're very, very hard to learn. We've read history, we've seen the past, but yet and still we're still repeating these mistakes. I just wanted to bring to your attention, I know Siku said it yesterday, but it's been real for the past few weeks or so. There has been serious attempt to hike SKTV. I'm not really sure what's going on, what the purpose is, and this is not being made up. This is not being made up. These are facts, and it's very interesting how people would think that this is all joke and so forth. But that's not something to complain about. We understand where we are. We understand what we're in. So, hey, we got to face it, right? We got to face it and work with it. Today, we'll listen to former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf throwing some jabs and what it also implies, what it means. We'll look into it. Today, we'll talk about what current Vice President Joy Howard Taylor, her session, we'll dive into it. We'll dive into it a little more to understand the context and so forth. I have some female friends who's reached out to me about horror sessions that was posted most recently and what that really means, as a female, why would she say that and so forth. We'll talk about some of these things, and we'll get into other things here as we move forward. We want you to please share the show. In other news, United Party is, hot mess. They're taking it as a joke. They're in a serious mess and a serious nonsense. They're in a serious mess. But they should watch and see. Anything that joke? They think this is a joke? United Party should watch and see. all those who are passing around and making noise and being loud, and you think they really understand propaganda, or they really think they can bully people around, whatever it is, well, yo, watch out. Go mark it down. Yo, watch out. It will get very, very noisy in there. It will get noisy. It will get noisy in there, and we'll see who all in there can stand the heat. And we'll remind you about today that we said on SKT that it will get noisy. In other news, our boys in CDC, the big boys. And not easy. We'll make the connection to what Nina Greenfield said for you to know what's up. And I think everything that joke or that labor business. Yo, see. They can get really, really busy in the country. But share the show as we look forward to playing our music. And once we get back, we will jump straight into it and kickstart our conversation. They lied to us. These guys are liars. They're criminals. And there are some criminals from the past government, the past UP government. Some of them still are in the corridor. Some of them still exist. These are bad people, bad actors. And here on SKTV, we're not shy to say it. We call it as it is. Me, I'm no diplomatic. I'm no diplomacy. I'm no boo. I'm just talking raw. But yes, on some real note, let's get the show started. Let's get it started. And thank you for helping us to share the show. Thank you so much for sticking with us. We'll be back momentarily to get into this conversation and answer this question about the general topic today. What is wrong with our current and past leaders in Liberia? What is really wrong with them? We will no copyright to this song.
My people, where you at? Where you at? Wake up from your slumber, stop sleeping. Wave your hands, wave your hands, wave your hands, wave your hands. Come on, come on, come on. I know you're sleeping now. You gotta wake up some more, yeah? Okay, let's go. The people who us, the people lie to us, the government betray us, they betray us so much. I said they lie. The people who us, the people lie to us, the government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not go. I said we tired with their lies, we tired with their promises that led us to all our damages. We tired with their speech they preach in thee, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrate us. So why did you lie? Why did you steal? Why did you allow the citizens to beat? You see, we just tell you that why we voted you. But you fool us, you screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. They lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie. The people fool us, the people lie to us, the government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not corrupt. I said no one to trust. My people, no one to hope on. Nobody. My hope that I have been broken. I'm telling you, brother. So where are the schools? Where are the roads? Where are the jobs that they said they could afford? But they're too selfish. The people tired with their rhetoric. People tired, they tired. You see the reason why we ask why the government betray. They have enough of time, but yeah, then instead they delay. People suffer. No work for people crying for hunger. Look at. Your vision and your mission, your intention to the nation, they poor. You got nothing to show. Nothing. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. They lie. us, oh. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they go knock them for us. With their promises that led us to all our damages. We tired with that speech they preach indeed, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw it frustrate us. So why did you lie? Why did you steal? Why did you allow the citizens to be? You see, we just tell you that why we voted you. For you fool us. You screw us, you use us and little on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie.
They can lie, they can steal, they corrupt ego. Well, folks, thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. As we are about to get started, I'd like to play a quick, should I say recording? Yeah, let's play on a quick recording. Let's play this quick recording. I want you to listen, please. Really quick, let me get it. It's not loading here. I want you to listen to this. I want you to listen to this. Oops, let me get the wrong one. Okay, please listen to this as we listen to this, please.
To want to come and go. Since this transition, I received many calls from colleagues, many of whom had intended to be here. And sometimes I wonder, maybe RIA was dark. I'm so glad.
All right, so just before we get into the conversation for today, that was the voice of our former president, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. As we dive into this conversation, let me recognize one or two people really quick, because I know that's something we did not do last week or sometimes this week. Silla Afu, I hope I didn't pronounce your name wrong there. Please don't get mad at me. Yvonne, Silla, welcome to the show. Umetrio, Kranga, welcome to the show. Hawa Kenneth, welcome to the show. Bayon Kamara, welcome to the show. Ayi Fofana, welcome to the show. Elizabeth Barron, welcome to the show. James Koya Jackson, welcome to the show. Kind Kim, welcome to the show. Annie Toba, I think this is the wife of Alari Toba. Welcome to the show. It's good. It's good having you on. Hopefully one of these days we can get you to I know you probably don't want to get too much involved with politics, but I will reach out to you. Hopefully, one of these days we can get you to come on for us to have a conversation. A lot to learn from you, a lot to hear from you. We'll send you an official invite, Anin Tupa. But welcome to the show. Odao Tima, welcome to the show. Valerie, Sweetie Sharif, welcome to the show. Fanta, it's been a while. Welcome to the show. I didn't even let you know. So I was just on the East Coast there, but I didn't let you know. Next time, hopefully, I'll let you know so I can hopefully stop by and say what's up to you and the family. Rhonda, welcome to the show. My man, welcome to the show. Every day you buy, you fighting me, but you you can. Kim, that how your name is on Facebook. Kind Kim, or is that Kim Kind? That the same person I'm talking to now. Kind Kim. Kim, welcome to the show. Thomas Johnson, welcome to the show. And thank you for watching us. I'm not sure who has the Arabic name. I really don't know how to read Arabic. I wish I did so that I could, read it out. I'm very sorry, my brother or my sister. But welcome to the show. For some reason, let me look on the other side here because I can't even go on my page to look at the show because I got to keep in check. You listen to the former president Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, former Toure. My man, former, we try to get your vote people on here. My man, what is going on with vote? We are hearing a lot of small noise. What's going on with vote? The vote finally close the whole vote presidential aspiration down and turn it over to JMB and I don't know what a new group that JMB didn't say they form me or whatever it is. I'm not sure, my man, but former, you guys will have to come here to clear the air. We'll be reaching out to you guys. You got to come here. We got to bring Dr. Wapo back here so that we can have a conversation to know where we are, because 2023 is approaching and there's been a lot of news with your stand-up bearer, so definitely we'll be expecting a call from me or either you or someone from the party will reach out, we'll set up and we'll go from there. Let's see what's up. My man Bill Cassin, my man, what you get for me? My man, you probably can just go for months, then you show off. You go for months, you show up. I don't know what's going on. Like your membership on SKTV now, my man, you're losing a small. Before the end of next year, we will not know your name again on the show, to be honest, because you haven't been consistent. Back in the days, Bill Cassin used to be one of the very first persons here. So, my man, I don't know what's going on, but you got to work on some things. Round up. I mean, we'll discuss that thing behind close. So leave me where your comments and your Musa Belede talk. I beg you, but leave me where MOU. Musa Belede was here yesterday. He said no more MOU business. He finished with that MOU talk. What else you want? Leave me, brother. Hey, Alan Cummings spoke, man. Go to ANC people, they will tell you what's up. Leave me, I beg you. I always come here to give me out. James David, welcome to the show. And let's interact with you for the next few seconds here. Read one or two of the comments before we get into the conversation, because once we get into it, that's it. My man Bill Cousin, you will lose your membership, man. You will lose your membership. We are discussing it. Beyond close over you to lose your membership. You think this is a joke? Rockstar Freddie Lake, welcome to the show, my man. Man, I yell that you're the people that we're looking up to. We have make it happen, then we fall down inside. You're not making it happen, then we're there. But we're just looking up to you. Yeah. Run up, my man. Run up, you got hot down. You get pressure, bro. For real. You get pressure. Bill Cassin will announce officially when he will lose his membership. We announce it on the show here. And we're saying for safekeeping, he will be there. He will not come back easily. Yeah. He will come back next year. So, few days to the election, we'll bring him back. So, yes, I got to behave because I have Professor Larry to my wife here in the show today, so I got to behave myself. I'll be on my best behavior. I'll try my best to be on my best behavior. I will not talk too much. I will not say much. I will just be well behaved. Yeah. Today, you just see my behavior. You just see my behavior, how it be. Bigo, I mean, welcome to the show. Yeah, my man. You see, we're dignifying criminal alien, my man. Our ex-president, whether we like it or not, our ex-president, bro. Our ex-president, to be honest with you, our ex-president. So we just gotta do what we gotta do. Whether we like it or not, that's just what it is. You know, that's who we elect as leaders, and those are the people. You know, there's nothing we can do about it. To be honest, there is nothing we can do about it. But on a real note, the question here today is we have to look at what's really wrong with our current president. Yeah. Well, I see, well, I see Professor Larry Thomas wife writing there. In situation I get handle, I gotta behave. So I'll be at my best behavior. I will be my best behavior as much as I can be today. I will not talk much. I will not say much. When Bill Carson saying you change your picture on a Facebook, saying you change your picture to that new guy you put on that picture there, saying you change your picture, you call your head, we'll take trouble with you for all to find you to come on the show that wall. So that is there. Celestine, welcome to the show. Celestine Sibatapet, welcome to the show. Since you changed your picture, your profile picture, that trouble will take in your hand. Yeah, I know why you gotta even do that. You just will keep the same haircut, the same Bill Cosby, no picture, nothing, where you just use to pop up. Yeah. But say you been, I don't know if somebody getting a guy in situation, you can handle that, I'll make it against you, but we'll discuss that one behind closed doors. But ladies and gentlemen, we got maybe 1 or 2 more minutes to interact with you, and we'll get straight into the conversation here. I think sometimes we need to do this. Yeah, Topa, you're making a very good point. Steve, according to 2014 elections, vote could not fire presidential candidate, especially WAPO, because WAPO had less than 2%. 2000, okay, 2% in 2017 and 2023, 2029 has elapsed before vote can fire presidential candidate. Okay, that makes sense. That could be one of the reasons. But then the question becomes also, I know Chairman Musa Belede alluded to that yesterday very briefly, that the new election law requires the political party at least to have a minimum of, at least 2% to be able to qualify you to get on the ballot. So that would show that there will possibly be less presidential candidates or parties going forward in the upcoming elections. Because if we should have less than 2%, and we look at the margin here, most of the parties that have ran, they've been less than 2% or even 1%. So I think it's a good benchmark. It's a good standard. It's very good as to curtail and to also limit or to also put a cap on some of these small funny little pocket and just coming from just bringing a lot of different noise and distraction. So then the bigger question becomes, what is the incentive from a mathematical standpoint? What does vote bring to the new UP collaboration or whatever collaboration they're talking about? Even who I don't like to discuss these funny, unrealistic things, because I know some things are not just realistic. I don't waste my time on them. I don't. When things are realistic, I focus on them. So then, what is the incentive though? What do they bring to the table as to enhance Jose Yuma Bwaka's chances of winning the elections come 2023? That is, even if he will run. What is that? Because remind you, I just told you there's about to be a serious noise in the United Party. Go mark it down today. A very serious noise. Very, 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 very serious. No joke about it. Very serious. It will be so noisy that it will betray each other. The road to 2023 not easy. But what's wrong with our, my man former, he said votes available anytime. I will call your phone sometimes today or sometimes this week so that we can coordinate and see if we can get your chairman here. I think that would be very, very important. I have to behave today. Okay? I can't talk plenty. I will leave some things. The professor wife. So not the professor wife, right? I got to behave. Yes, ALP as well. Okay, that's a good point. Took for keeping up. Part of the reason why they opted to support the United Party, Yes, James, you're 100% right. See, the brown envelope effect is going to impact most of them. It's going to impact most of them, and I can tell you, speaking of former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, there's a huge division in the United Party that I don't like to talk about. There's the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf group that have been wanting to surface and wanting to take over the party because of how Joseph Yuma Boakai is running the party. Now, mind you, it was Joseph Yuma Boakai and Mo Ali. He was on here before, and I tried to quiz him on the false allegation that United Party brought against Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Okay, I will call you, Mama. I will call you for sure. I will call you after the show. I will call you. So the false allegation that were brought against Ellen Johnson Sirleaf because the court rejected and asked United Party to restore her is on. This thing is bigger, it's deeper than your thing. It's on. It's going to get noisy. It's going to get problematic. And easy. The things that are cooked up that is about to be delivered. It'll be very, very noisy. But we'll be here to talk about it. We'll be here to talk about it because we talk about everything and anything we do. We'll be here to talk about it. But let's get into the conversation here today. I think what is wrong with our past leaders, especially those, the presidents or so forth. I try to download this music today. I want you to listen to this music just a little bit. I think we're much younger. We're chilling. 2005, when the first elections came around. Let me play this music for you really, really quick. I want you to listen to this. I want you to listen to the wordings in here. Just a little bit. It's about 9 minutes long. We're supposed to download it, but because we're having some problems here, we didn't. So we download it and make it happen. Listen to this music. I think most of you, I'm talking about the small children who they got into politics. We can't say we've been in politics for a long time because we the older folks, we know what's up. But the small children will not remember this song. But most of you who've been in politics for a minute, who understand, the terrain, apart from politics, but you've been around, you will know what this song means. Listen to this song. I think most of you are familiar with this song.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Sonada Diabo. I'm glad with the great opportunity given me to introduce to you your president.
Babu want to become president. We still want to become president. Obi Dose want to become president. Crazy man you see want to become president. Mr. Kede want to become president. Mr. Lala man want to become president. President you will.
Kim, Kim, come on now, now. We the old head and we've been around for a minute, we know what's up. Anyway, let's get back to our song.
Mr. Ruru want to become president. Now, the president business will be. We should bring for some more. Mr. Lala want to become president. President you see want to become president. Mr. Your president. It can't be one angry. Let me tell you something. When they want to become president with Lala, they will come and say, as the president of the Republic of Liberia, I thank you people for introducing me as a president. Power the presence in me as a president.
Chavi, you see your life? You see your life? Wait, know about this song. You see your life? Let me be that thing. We the older folks that will understand. That one I see the young people that dancing all the other funny music. Usually we have music that will message that we used to dance before that ain't playing that. Let's do.
I want to make sure I will bring the rest down. I'm going to pull all the fear press down. I'm going to bring the gasoline press down. us take up become president. In 96, Liberia will score. When they give president to them, they will stand and say, I'm Mason. I will bring down Colombia and build you new Colombia. I'm going to make sure. That is a lesson for me. Where you at? Don't let go. This girl that we see, they will become president.
President, don't cry about it. The president is 7 and I'm worried about it. I got one question to how will be president. But William, I can't you become president. Nobody know you. How do you become president? How will you become president? Hey, people man now want to become president. All the seven Jagger they want to become president. You got me here, then you want to become president. Nobody know you, then you say you want to become president. Nobody don't say if you here, you want to become president. My brother, you can't become president. If I follow you, come to Liberian, you say you want to become president.
Well, we'll leave it there, folks. And we have the opportunity to listen to this music as time goes by. As we get towards 2023, we start to ask ourselves this question: what is wrong with our past and present leaders? You know, I had to go back to listen to this song. This song is almost maybe, if I'm not mistaken, 2004, 2005, or 2003. I stand to be corrected when this song came out. And the essence for playing this song, yeah, Kim, it's been nearly 20 years. Can you imagine that time where? Imagine that time where we're in our prime now for 222. Yeah, that time we're inside we couldn't hear no. Yeah, that time we're really chilling and balling. When we talk about real chilling for two. I'm talking about chilling where you need to get flavor in chill. I'm talking about real chilling, so much chilling. We should be chilling. Can you imagine that time? They actually here to our ages now. I hear that. But long story short, this song prints the picture of who Liberians would elect over time. When you have the time, go and listen to that song in detail. It sent a message as to who Liberians will elect going forward. So the question is not actually what's wrong with our leaders. The question bogs down to what's wrong with the people in the leaders that they elect or select, because your leaders are the reflection of you, whether you like it or not. And this has been the problem. We knowingly make excuses to do the right thing. We are one of the only countries in the world on planet Earth that do that. So if you hear this song, you would get to understand that these guys were speaking to the minds of in as much as it might sound funny, the messaging in the song, imagine they're telling you, you just come in, you won't become president. Nobody knows you won't become president. You can't speak your dollar, you won't become president. These are tribalistic conversations people are having. They also tell you, and these are, whether you like it or not, they are realities. Imagine almost 20 years ago, and guess who were the key players? George Weah, peace be to his ashes, Charles Bronski, Ellen, Frank Johnson, and others. Who are the key players now, even after 20 years? Who are the key players? These same guys are still around. And you said something will change. We've told you on SKTV here before. We've told you that the Joy Howard Taylor, Joseph Walker was there. We'll download the video and play. You will see Joseph Boyka sitting there. You will see him sitting with Ellen laughing. You will. In this particular song, in the video, you will see him sitting with Ellen laughing. Go think about these things. 20 years or 15 years ago. But then I was not even in the States. Some of us were still in Africa, running around playing football, moving from place to place. This song was launched. These same actors are still in the corridor. And you're telling me they will change. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf threw a jab at the funeral or at the memorial service, however you want to term it, this past weekend. Let me tell you something. We might not agree on your political choice. We might not agree on how who you chose to support is governing. But let's agree on one thing. We need change. And I'm not talking about recycle change. I'm saying to you, go listen to this music. This morning around 2, 3, 4, normally I'm up either trying to get my day started or so forth, or I'm doing one or two things or putting some things together. And this music runs to mind. We're in trouble. We're stuck with these things after 15, 20 years. We're stuck. Some of you, your children who were babies have come, they have graduated. They still see us in the same mess with the same people and the same faces around. You know what America did with Hillary Clinton and other people? They brought Obama and other people. Changed the trajectory because they knew they could not continue with the same old politicians. They wanted the country to change. They wanted the country to get more innovative and so forth. Let me tell you something. If you choose to revert to the past, listen, God is not coming from heaven to save us. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf threw a jab at President George Weah. We know it's not a hidden secret that in no way, shape, or form she supported Joseph Boyka. She supported President George Weah. Today's President George Weah is president. And I saw President George Weah, the Vice President Joy Howard Taylor, everyone sitting there laughing when she threw that jab. As a matter of fact, it's been business as usual because Ellen and Emma Sawyer and other people work together. Let me tell you something. This is a big game for these guys. Even some of the younger people that they've recruited today, that you are passing around praise singing and making cases for and defending while their family members, their loved ones, their children sit and enjoy the luxury of the monies that they steal. They be laughing at you. They got no respect for you. They recruit these guys, bring them, mold them, make them into the stooges to take over next when they leave to protect them. President Weah, who you saw hope in. President Weah, who you saw hope in, has come and becomes one of the worst ever in history. Very corrupt, very incompetent, careless, and will not do anything. But it's not a mistake. You think it was a mistake? You think George Weah is a mistake? George Weah is not a mistake. George Weah is a protege and a stooge. Whether that's from Doe or whatever from Charles Taylor. As a matter of fact, on the records, Charles Taylor was one of the very first person, President Charles Gange Taylor was one of the very first person. They say, I don't support him. I don't care about it. I will care less. I will care less about these criminals and crooks. I don't care about them. But we have to point out the facts where they are. Was one of the very first persons to point out the ambition of President George Weah. Guess what President George Weah did? He stuck around LNM. The Making Peace Ambassador gave him a title. He galvanized these young men, Jefferson Koji, the other guy, the chairman, Moluba Molu, all these people, Akara's great, and all of them you see gallivanting around here. They galvanized these guys, trained them. They will go and say they're organizing protests. Guess what will happen? Ellen will call them behind closed door and get them cuts. They will take the cuts and out of the protesting. That's why you see them acting the way they're acting today. Today, they've recruited lots of young people, infested them with these nonsensical things that they are doing. Only because they want to continue to make this country to go down the drain. We're in trouble. And you think this is coincidence. It's not coincidental. It is not coincidental. These are well-orchestrated plans that are happening. They are happening in your eyes. This song, 20, 15 years ago, it might sound funny. These are clear code messages that these guys send to us. That's what we're going to do. As a matter of fact, this is what Ellen Johnson states about Amos Sawyer. Let me read what she said. Let me read quickly here for all of us to get this. Quote, he worked with us to change the government's reform commission to governance commission. The essence of this effort was to give it more scope, more authority, and more independence. I'm forever grateful that he remained in that position until my administration ended. Then I ask, where is the good governance? Where is the governance commission in addressing the current national issues? Well, the question should also be, where is the governance in addressing the Noka issue? The question should also be, where was this governance in addressing other rapes, violation, and things in the country? Where was that governance? This is all game for these guys. The deeper you get to understand these things, the more you get to understand these things, the more energized and pissed off you would be to have some of these national conversations. Let me tell you something. These guys will do anything they can to avert, abort, twat, and get rid of any effort of change. Any good person you bring, they'll go after them. Because it's a threat, it's a menace, and it's problematic for their system that they've established. You think this is a joke? You really think this is a joke? When somebody look at you and tell you that now your time, you got to get in the line. When somebody look at you and tell you, say, you can't speak your dialect, so you can't be president of the country. When somebody look at you and tell you, say, you came from abroad and you can't be president, you really think this is a joke? When people think that they do you a favor, when you did not create the war, you did not partake in the war, you did not sponsor the war, you did not pay for the war. But they tell you, say, you're not citizen of a country in which you were born. And you think this is a joke. You really think this is fun. And some of you allow these guys to make you to break your relationships with people only because you want to take sides with them at that time. When this other criminal is supporting the other group, they're not criminal, they're cool. When the other bad person is supporting the other person, no, they're not bad at that time, they're cool. When they choose to support somebody else and they're not supporting you, then they're a problem. Okay. Okay. What will we do? We the people. What can we do? And what should we do? Whether it is Ellen, whether it is Joseph Yuma Blacker, whether it's George Weah, whether it's Joel Howard Taylor, none of them want change. Let me tell you today, this is all game for them to know what they're doing. As evidenced by that, George Weah told you that 12 years, 24 years or 12 years is loading. They told you that. They have not even gotten the power. They're telling you how long they'll be there for. Sit there and think these things are joke. Sit there and think these guys, oh, they don't know what they're doing. Everything will be fine. They will do the right thing. We'll just pray for them. And God, listen, God is not in this nonsense. God is not in the foolishness that we're in. No, God is not in it. God is dealing with serious-minded people who want to do serious-minded things. God ain't got time for all that foolishness we're about. We're not about seriousness. You know what I mean? You know what I mean to be alive for 200 years? Do you know what it means? Or to be in existence for 200 years? Go see Aricos in Ghana there who are maybe 50, 60 years old. Go see how far they've gone because of where the mindset is. Go see. You're passing around, we are dividing ourselves on party land because the person never supported your family or never supported the person or never supported that person. So you speak the truth about somebody, they won't tie you to the person or tie you to that party as though we're not human beings. Let me tell you, Amos Sawyer messed up. Ellen messed up. Josh Weah messed up. You put Joseph Boaga that he will mess up, it would be worse. These guys are all the same. They're all the same. They don't want to do what is right for the country. They don't want to do what is right. They will never do what is right. Never. They have been trained and conditioned to be criminally minded for the rest of their lives. They will not change. They will cover up for each other. They will make excuses for each other. They will defend each other. And they will act to you like they're throwing jabs, like what Ellie is doing. They're not throwing jabs, though. When they're not in government again, they know everything that is wrong. When they're dead, they shut up. When they're dead, they shut up. They know exactly what they're doing. Who tell you they don't know what they're doing? They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They know. Let me tell you something. Some of your favorite politicians and people that you support today, they are trained by these same crooks and criminals. Go check the history. Go check the records. Go and check it. I don't have to know you, but if I know who you honor, I know exactly who you are. I don't have to spend 10 years to know you. Let me just know who you honor. Because it's a reflection of you. It's a reflection of you. George Weah was groomed to be who he is today. He was groomed. It's not a mistake. It's not a joke. Nathaniel Magdalene was groomed to be who they are today. Don't see them say, oh, the country, that's not true. The country born in and no born in that. That's not truth. That's not truth. There is no truth in that. These guys, let me tell you something. These guys have mastered the act of criminality to the fullest. They do it as a full-time job on a daily basis. That's what they do. You want change? I challenge you to stand against the status quo. To stand against these people that were there. Let all of us say the whole group that were there from 2005 or from Chastity time. Let's get rid of all of them. Or from Dotan. Let's get rid of them. Go check the history. You think Joseph Boaga coincidental? You really think so? You think Joseph Boaga was a mistake? You really think so? You haven't really done your history yet. You haven't really read yet. He's not a history. He's not a mistake. Not by coincidence. Ellen didn't pick him by mistake or by coincidence. No. Ellen didn't pick him by that. No. No. Ellen strategically picked Joseph Boakai. Oh, the time will come for us to talk about that part. We'll leave that part for today because this conversation is not surrounding Joseph Boakai. So yes, Ellen's acting like she's throwing jabs. It sounds funny. But also Ellen is sending, can you imagine a former president who has lots of international connection? These videos are played to our partners and our friends. These videos, they are played to them. They're played to them and they follow it. If Ellen can confirm and affirm, you might think it's joke that the airport is dark or there is no electricity, so that means people couldn't come, the people that wanted to come. So we are a screw. Screw big time. And that coming from the ordinary citizen. And that coming from opposition. It coming from a former president who has lots of leverage from an international and a global standpoint. As a matter of fact, she has a close tie with Linda Greenfield. We're tied into Linda Greenfield. But I want to move a little bit here to the next talking point here. This is very interesting. You have to put the dots together, the pieces together, to understand what's going on. It doesn't take your everyday talking and being in your political feelings and having attitude. It doesn't take that. It takes actual reflection, seriousness, open-mindedness to understand these things. It's a puzzle that you must put together to get an actual picture, an image of what's happening. There are a lot of things happening that you have no clue about. Liberia is not what it is today because anybody swear Liberia, not truth. Don't let nobody fool you and you go spend time fasting and praying for 20 years or for 10 years, not true. I've always said it, if Liberia would have changed, my grandma, she used to pray more than me. She used to pray more than me. We need to cut the crap out and make the tough decisions. We need to get serious and stop defending these people that have done us wrong for so many years. This thing is not mutually exclusive to Ellen. Some of your politicians that you sign up for today, that you put your head on chopping board for, some of the people that you are passing around pressing and defending, they're part of this problem because they still want to keep the same old people there. How in the world can you tell me, say, George Weah is screwed up? George Weah is doing wrong. But then you are excited for George Weah to give you a call and you are bouncing all around. What sense does that make? What sense does that make? Anything has changed? Has anything changed? Has the bigger picture changed? Has it changed? You tell me that people like Prince Johnson, people like Bernard Urenas should still be having conversation about politics? Don't make any sense. You'll get to terms of reality. And I think when we get to terms of reality and we get to this point, it would help us as a nation. But let's fast forward because we need to get into the conversation. We already have one of our guests here. Yes, sir. Bonjour.
Comment allez-vous, ma mère? How you been?
Je vais très bien. My man, you looking sharp. I let her share, my man. I share that. Next time I show for the East Coast, I get that share.
Yeah, my man. Can't share you. I mean, when we finish pushing our cartoon, we can cancel and we're trying to go on. What's up?
My man, you see how it feels for you to have that kind of opportunity where you're sitting in the car, chilling, waiting for your children to come, internet. You're chilling, you can connect from any part of the world. You're chilling in the car looking sharp, super. But not only that, some of these things we don't think about them, we don't process them. But it takes leaders to make these things to happen. They don't happen coincidentally. That I'm God come from heaven and make them to happen. God come from heaven and make them happen. Serious minded leaders put the taxpayers' money Where you're sitting, you are safe and secure. Not only that, your children don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about if your children eat because you know that they either have breakfast, lunch, or something at school, and they are safe.
Especially for all Liberians in America, in Europe, where I call the white man land, because whether they are seditionists, whether they are ANC, ALP, Unity Party, those that live in any country where you and I live, what you're saying, their children are beneficiary of all the same thing. But
Yeah.
where we draw the contrast, what they support in Liberia that you and I don't support is where the contract is drawn. And that means it's being customized to their own liking and benefit.
Yes. Yes. And that's the problem we are having. But I know you're not stranger, but greet our people really quick so we can get into the conversation here.
Yeah, so let me say good afternoon from my end here. To all your loyal listeners, I would like to say my name is J. Randy, and for those who follow me, and I also like to say thank you for the opportunity given to me again to utilize the little time I have. And again, hi to everyone, and I hope that we can have a better conversation that will continue to move our country with a sense and purpose of why we are a country and what we can do as people that make that country to be what it is today and move it to the next level for the next future.
Okay. Well, I want to skip. I want to skip the Joy Howard Taylor statement really quick, and I
Okay.
want to get into something that you've been doing some research on, um, and that has to do with the plan. I know you've been having different series or so forth on this. The
Mhm.
plan of the CDC and Nathaniel McGill, the bigger picture behind the payments or the pledge that was made to EULA.
Yeah.
What have some of your findings unveiled to you so that you can help our public understand what's really going on behind the scene?
Well, the way I'm going to discuss this thing, I'm going to put it on the thing conspiracy theory. All right. It is a conspiracy theory that tends to redefine the foundation of EULA, which doesn't fit the profile of anyone who has a strong understanding of EULA. Fact number one, like I said, I had developed season one, and I think episode 4 was broadcast last night on my show. So, Mr. Nathaniel McGill is not a member of EULA. EULA is a diaspora organization, meaning if you live in the diaspora, you are covered under that program because it's a Union of Liberia in America. So whether you are a government official, you visit back and forward, you still not covered under that. So you are not obligated to make any due. So when I listen to Nathaniel McGill at that program saying that, oh, I want to pay my dues, so when I leave government, I can come and do. No, this is not some type of life insurance where you say, let me pay now when I die tomorrow so you can be able to cover me up. That's not how you operate. What I have observed here is I believe there have been some money laundering taking place, Moses.
Hmm.
Mr. Stanton Witherspoon lived in Burlington. I lived in an area for 25 years and I attended all the ULA program. I never saw Mr. Stanton over there. Mr. Stanton, I believe, lived an isolated life outside of ULA function. But the relationship that have been built over time between Mr. Stanton and Mr. McGill that has to do with some monetary support. I am saying that McGill probably brought 300,000 in this country. And I think based on what has happened to Dr. Kasser, second thought started kicking in. Because the FBI will give you the longest rope in the bush to have enough evidence on you to book you. Now, why am I bringing this in here? EULA as an organization, the structure of it, not on your show, not on Stanton's show, never anywhere have you seen the EULA new president or the past went on any show and said, look, guys, we have a project here. We are targeting between 300,000 to 400,000 and we need support. Never has that happened in the history of EULA where you and I have maybe donated $5, $10. So when McGill stood in the middle of that conversation and said, I'm going to get 100,000 and then we're going to put EULA in the budget to provide 300,000, the question becomes what McGill has seen what EULA has presented to you guys that is of that same amount, is it just a arbitrary number that might get picked up there? No, it is not. So that based on the fact that perhaps Magay brought that money in this country and wanted to pass that money on to Stanton, but it got stuck in the process and he decided to redirect the money. And after Stanton had built a relationship, because think about this, EULA is associated with Liberians in the Americas. Our representation here is a Liberian consular office in this country. Most of the time, you all have the embassy sending representatives to be part of the program because we are all in the diaspora. So how ironic is it that Magay just showed up? Not only did he show up, he gave a personal donation and tour donation, and then he went and gave an initial contribution of 100,000, and then on top of that, he wanted to put you into a budget that he had no control over when it comes to the protocol. So I base my observation on these things to say, you know what, some form of money laundering is going on. But I will hope that Magay will not do that, because that will bring me to the second phase. The UNA president claimed to say the organization itself, it is not a 501c3 nor a 501c4. So the question becomes, what did ULA register as when they were first established in 1974?
Well, let me hold you there, because we have to clarify that part. If the president said that, if the ULA president said that, in fact, then that's a misinformation, because I was there on Saturday when there was a guy from Minnesota. They have I just forgetting the name. I brought their brochure. I brought the brochure. And he was talking about, since the organization is a nonprofit organization, the organization has to change its email address to .org so that it reflects, to some extent, the nonprofit status. So if ULA president, by any means, said that on a network or anywhere in public, I would encourage you to take that back, because there is a video or there is a recording, and I was in the meeting on last Saturday, not this Saturday, the following Saturday, week before last Saturday. I was in Philadelphia into that meeting, the leadership meeting, and he did affirm and attest that ULA is a nonprofit organization. I just want to clarify that part before we go any further. So we can't be changing words because we wanting to suit us. ULA, as far as I'm concerned, is a nonprofit organization. Please go ahead.
Yeah, but saying it is one thing, but providing the documentation is another thing.
Right.
I, as an auditor, will not take your word for it. What I do know, ULA was established as a non-profit organization because they're not making money.
Most definitely.
But there are some article or incorporation, whether you are a corporation or a limited liability company, you can still classify yourself as a non-profit organization. But if you are not categorized based on the IRS tax code, whether you are C3 or C4, then we want to know who you are. And the reason I'm bringing this up, I listened to the president because I was asked to analyze that conversation he had on Spoon Network. He was specifically asked repeatedly, and the narrator asking for the sake of clarity, you are saying that ULA is not a 501c3 nor a 501c4. He said yes. However, he used the phrase we have organs of organization, Liberian organization, that are out of 501c3 and 501c4. So it's like a franchise. It's like AT&T, T-Mobile. You go and buy the franchise, but you live in different community, but you still subscribe to them based on the regulation that come from the top. So that's what happening there. So my question here is, if he made that comment, what I would like to find out from him is this. 501c3 is for mainly charitable organization, religious organization that provide educational resources to other countries.
Right.
With limited political interference or participation. On the other hand, 501c4 is primarily about politics. There are many Liberians across this country that are part of any Liberian association. So the question that the Spoon guy forgot to ask this guy, if you say that ULA itself as the umbrella organization doesn't hold any 501c3, not 501c4. What is the current registration status of EULA in the Americas? That's first question. Second question, he should be able to say to us, for example, the EULA Association in Arizona, where Moses is either a 501c3 registrant or a 501c4 registrant. Because that's the arm, because he said they carry both ways.
Yeah, but let me clarify that part, because you spoke about Arizona. I need to clarify that part.
I'm just giving you an example.
As of today, per the record, yes, serving as the current president for the Liberian Association here, we are a 501c3 status.
Yes.
Now,
yes, and I did see that.
We subscribed to EULA because they are apolitical 501c3 status as well. So I'm not sure where this discrepancy is coming from, where these changes are coming from now that we have not been updated.
EULA itself, and I will encourage you to listen to that video. EULA itself doesn't have any identification that pin it as a 501c3, not a 501c4. If what you see is true, then I would like to see that documentation. But the current president, they say that they are not a 501c3. While it is true that in the press release letter, they mentioned that anyone who understood what that young man said will say they are using the 501c because your organization as a 501c3 and other organization, the North Dakota chapter, also is a 501c3, and they decide to put that in there because you guys are supporting them. But the EULA itself that provided our support need to show us where they register. You see, in the United States, more corporations register in the state of Delaware because they don't want to pay taxes. However, they have branches around other states that they operate and pay their taxes locally, but from the corporate itself, because they are in Delaware, they are giving a tax break. Right. That's how I mirror what EULA is. EULA is saying that, according to the president, that we are not 501c3, we are not 501c4. However, we are a non-profit organization. Well, granted, but you register in the state of Pennsylvania. Can you show us your registration so that we can see it to determine whether what you say is true or not? It's possible that it could be 501c4 supporting political aspiration for themselves. It's possible that it could be a 501c3 doing charity work. But how do we know? I'm sitting here before you and your audience will not take anybody by their words. I will take you by your words, but I will have to verify it based on your documentation.
Right.
You follow me there? Okay.
Right. But this is interesting. This is an interesting conversation. And the reason I'm saying this also, EULA could face some serious legal problems here. I'll give you an example. Grand Canyon University is or was in a constant habit of switching their status. One minute, they won't be non-profit, another minute, they won't be for-profit. So the federal government, and I think up until now, I've not updated the research yet on them, the federal government held them and said, no, you can switch your status, you can be going back and forth.
Yes.
And so it was a big case in the court with Grand Canyon University. I'm yet to find out if they have been cleared out or which status we are on currently, because I'm still a student there and an instructor there. So I understand the intricacy that comes with this. So EULA is in a tight spot that they need to put themselves together apart from this money issue.
Yes.
It's a thin line you don't want to play with.
And that is why it was sad, and I think it's due to the inexperience of the people who are on the Spoon Network, because I don't think they have the ability to think and ask such question. Because when the EULA president came out and said, we have a 501c3 and C4, they should have been able to ask him, because one company cannot represent the two status.
Exactly.
So when he was to be asked, after he said we have organs or body across the United States, that each will have one 501c3 on the other side, and then the other chapter will have 503. For example, I'm just giving this as an example. Maybe Arizona will be 501c3. The people in maybe South Dakota will be a 501c4. That gives you the leverage to carry on both political activities and to carry on charitable activities. I was expecting them to say, can you list for us, just over the top of your head, which Liberian organization that you know of that bear 501c3 and which organization on the umbrella that bear 501c4? Because you cannot have both hats. But they were not able to answer that. And the purpose for which I'm asking that question, there are many Liberians in this country watching your show right now who joined the organization because they feel that they are obligated to their people back home. They don't want to be part of any politics. But if the IRS code is defined that that organization, for example, is in maybe in New Mexico, and then it's registered as a 501c4, which is mostly about political activities, whatever money you receive, it will be pumped into that organization to support political activities. But for who interest it is. So those are things that they're trying to sweep under the rug. Secondly, if the people get to know, for example, the guy in New Mexico, he part of the Liberian Association, and that association is C4, and he's not care about politics in Liberia, but he or she have been contributing through the maybe monthly, weekly participation and paying money in there, but not knowing that the money going towards political purpose. Let that person be aware that that particular chapter you in is for political purpose. It's not for charitable purpose. Then they will give that person the opportunity to say, you know what, I support you, but I don't want to be on the politics side. I want to be on the charitable side. The second thing here is,
hold on, Randy. Let me clarify something here really quick. I think Chavi provided some kind of clarity on something here. This is what she wrote. He lied. There are 501c4 unless they changed their status last week to 501c5. If they keep playing games, they could get their non-profit status revoked.
Yes. So what T is saying, and T was very resourceful when I was doing my show too, and let me acknowledge that to her. She was very resourceful because when I laser focus on EULA, because remember when EULA was established in 1974, that chapter registered in Philadelphia. Right. It was where the original EULA was hatched. So that document, and I'll give it to T here. T said, Randy, one way that you guys can define that is to go to the auditor office of Philadelphia to pull that original record that they register underneath. So if she is alluding to that record, perhaps maybe she may have done a FOIA request online and know exactly what EULA is. 501 C4 is more about politics. Sorry,
Randy, I want to interrupt something. So based on what Tel is saying, also here, regardless, EULA checked, and I know for sure this one is for sure. That's why it caught my attention. EULA checked the status quo for social services and community services, not politics.
Yeah, but social services is merely on a C4, not on a C3. C3 is for charitable organization, religious, and educational purposes. The social purposes is merely for C4, but it can be dominated by political ambition. Yes, there is a case study that was done. Remember, those two IRS category is merely for organization in America. In Florida, Jeff Bush wanted to establish an organization. Two activists came together. One said they were going for C3. The other said they were going for C4. So they clearly defined themselves as to what they were going to be doing under both IRS code. So when they say, oh, we're going to look for social welfare has political content in it. Okay. But it depends on how wide you want to use the social content. You could use it for social well-being of people. You could use it for political purposes. But the two need will play. But however, the limitation, C3, you are limited to political things. Maybe you cannot do over 35%. C4, you have the leverage to spread around. So to T point, they will have to define where they are. But I'm saying that it should be coming from T, because she will be giving them a tap on the shoulder. Let us go after them and let them be the one to provide that. Because you know why? If they say they are C4 or they say they are C3, then let's go into the IRS code to see whether an organization like ULAP that is registered and is under some obligation, compliant obligation to follow this IRS C4 or C3 regulation, let further study. Because if they provide us what standard they have, then Liberians should start to look at the IRS code to determine whether an institution like ULAP under the IRS code is required to receive money from international country or foreign country. Let's see whether that is permitted, because you cannot go and start to dig when you don't know the status of somebody. So having them providing these two status, that is the tax status, we give all the weapon to see, well, a couple you over and say, let me go check your lesson to see whether you are wanted or not. So when you get the two information, then you will go to the IRS and determine whether ULAP, whether it's C3 or C4, is required to receive foreign aid. Because remember, the FBI is clamping down on people receiving money in this country as well. And that.
Right. So, Jay Randy, I want to tie into something that you wrote on your page.
All right.
We're friends on Facebook, and I do follow you. But before we tap into that, because that will be our last talking point for the day, I want to look into Vice President Joy Howard Taylor. She made a statement that was carried by several online, especially news outlets or print papers or whatever it is. And it was published today, and it's created some attention, some outcry. This is what it states as the topic. Liberia, poor parenting contributes to spike in rape cases. Now let me just read this very quick from her, what she stated. Quote, but let's look at the other side of the debate that deals with effects of sexual and gender-based violence that have already occurred. The vice president said, we continue to cry on government, civil society groups, and lawyers to help fix the problem. But the problem just is not there. I think we need to change our mindset to start talking about what is happening in the homes. What do you think about this statement?
Well,
being a parent, what do you think?
I mean, Joel Howard Taylor should be providing solution to problem and not putting blames around. One, she is a female. Two, she has done some things that you and I are aware of that protected her as a mother. And not to mention she being the vice president of Liberia. And not to mention she was one time a part of the government that also contributed significantly to the population that is now engaged into these activities we see today. So what I think Madam Howard needs to do, with all due respect, is to hold institutions accountable. That should be her role. Liberia is not governed by just household. Every household in our country is subject to any government institution. Specifically in the case of rape, a rape takes place in a community, it will be investigated by the police. And there will be due process.
Do you think she has a point here?
She has a point, but the point is indirect.
Okay, that makes sense.
She's trying to put the blame away from her responsibility and want to put it on the people. But the question becomes, how can you hold somebody accountable?
I think Jay is frozen there.
You hold somebody accountable when you have not told them what to do. That's exactly what she's doing. The rape cases in the country is staggering. Between 2015 and 2016, the rape cases were going up during any administration. We saw that data. When we then came to office, what role, aside from the vice president, that Madam Taylor should have played? Take that data, sit down with the Ministry of Gender, sit with the Ministry of Justice, and say, look, this is what we are inheriting. What can we do to reduce this? Mr. Weir, he was very smart enough, like I said on one of my tips when he became elected president. Bring all your government officials that you appoint, let them give you 2 to 3 year vision plan. If the Ministry of Justice vision plan include maybe 4 focus area, if the Ministry of Gender focus area, it include 4 as well, what are they going to do to resolve rape? Part of the program, as long as it is structured, we begin to engage community leaders, we begin to engage community to help mothers, young girls in the community what to look for. None of the things came from the government structure. Absolutely nothing. But the government every year come up with budget, and then those budget, we don't see the effect it has in the community. So when Madam Dewa Howard Taylor come out to hold parents accountable, while it is true that parent has the right to take care of the children, parent can go above, beyond to cause harm for the children, and the government will hold them accountable. So it is 50-50. The parent need to do their part, but at the same time, the government need to facilitate what actually need to be done. You and I in the country here, we got children here. We are not absolutely entitled to do things to our children here. The government monitor what we do here as well. So Joel Howard Taylor should be holding the government accountable for not doing her part and giving reason why the family themselves are not giving their part and what needs to be done. I would think that would be a fair and honest statement on her part.
So Randy, let me ask you this last question, because
I cannot hear you.
Maybe somebody called you.
Let me see.
Yeah. Maybe you have to go in and come back because someone called you and the message.
You want me to come back in?
Yeah.
All right.
It will help. So just before Randy come back in here is something that's interesting. One day ago, I made a post, and this is what I wrote. Parentification. Parentification means, in other words, it means young children are forced to take the roles of adults or to act like adults or become breadwinner or other things to take care of the family. In Liberia, parentification is very common, wherein parents sit around and they see their children bringing back arrests, bringing this in the house. These children are not working. They don't question these things. They welcome it, they okay it, and so forth. Let's take a break. I continue to say, this is why I wrote. And I said, parentification and role change within a family are 2 factors affecting young women in Liberia. These factors could lead to prostitution. It's poverty natural. So in this case, the question I wanted to ask Jay Randy is Joy Howard Taylor a victim here? And she's also crying for help. Listen, one might say, I don't agree with Joy Howard Taylor, Vice President Joy Howard Taylor. I don't agree on most of the things she does or she says. I don't. But I think she has a valid point here. She understands this. She's been here. She's pointing out part of the holistic problem. Let me tell you something. We can blame government all we want for not facilitating. I agree. But we have a responsibility too, as parents and as family. We do. We do. And most of these things, the sad part about it is the parents are enabling it directly and indirectly, to the point that some cases you will follow through. The parents will come and say they waive the case. They don't want to talk about it. Either because they were induced, they were coerced, they were compromised, or something. So I agree with also those that are crying and say she's in power of authority. Now the question becomes, what can her office do to change this? Yes, we agree that parents must be held accountable. We agree also that the government must be held accountable. But what can the vice president do in able to help this problem be resolved? Because I believe she's also a victim of this, directly or indirectly, considering Joy Howard Taylor was, I'm not sure, was or is, I'm not sure what her marital status is. She still carries the name Taylor or whatever now. People can be divorced and carry people's name. That's not uncommon in Liberia or other places. But I'm saying that we have to bring this to bear, that She was married to one of the warlords. What is her story? I would love to hear from her on her story. You know, this is not, listen, we can't do this with emotion. We can't do this fighting. This requires a holistic approach. It requires viewing it from all over. So Randy, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry for that.
No, that's fine. So my question to you now is, could Vice President Joy Howard Taylor also be a victim who's crying out for help here because maybe she didn't have help, she doesn't know how to address the parental part of it, and what can her office do? What do you think?
Well, I think Joy Howard Taylor should play a role of an advocate now, because if you look at her responsibility, one of the primary responsibilities she has right now is to provide oversight in the Senate. But also, she is responsible for the group of 77, the disadvantaged people. So that limits her opportunity to go out there. And she has to be very careful, because if she starts to put things out there, blaming her own administration, it might not sell too well with George Weah, because of George Weah's sensitivity to being very, to see criticism. So what she can do is people can invite her to participate in women symposium, workshop, where she can actually go out there and speak on the issue and call on the institution in the country to become very proactive. You see, we have all the institutions in our country, but Mr. We are inability to challenge those who he gave the opportunity to make decisions, to put in place policy. Those institutions are proven not to be effective. Leaders in the institution are weak. They are not effective. They cannot deliver anything. So in the end, the bad guys in the community win over the innocent people that look up to them. So as vice president, who is still part of the government, she needs to come in. And I will also call on Lima Bowie and all other women that are speaking out when it comes to rape cases in the country. And this is where the centricity of Liberia comes in. Whether you belong to ANC, UP, ALP, Liberia-centric means, where do we combine ourselves with a common denominator that will say no to certain bad behavior in the country as Liberian, not as political individual. So I think, aside from Madam Joy Howard Taylor, the civil society group with emphasis on women organization, they need to step aside and focus on how they can help our young girls, because the children that are being raped in the country, Moses, their future are being destroyed before they even start to live it. I have a daughter. I'm very much concerned when I see other people's children become, a sex tools. Sometimes people don't realize this thing because they don't put empathy into it. They only put sympathy into it. So, Madam Joy Howard Taylor, why is it true that she wants to throw the blame? I think she should be asking herself, what has my administration done to support the family out there? Because people will rush to justice when they are getting cases that are going through due process and family are getting closure. People will be encouraged. Secondly, the country is challenged with financial means. People rape people, children, and in the end, they go there and give money, and then the case closed. So again, those are the challenges that we have, and we must be able to address those challenges. But I think structured approach from the ministry, because we need to structuralize everything in the country. For example, the southeastern region should have a structure framework that resembles what is in Morovia when it comes to addressing things. Okay. Look at the other area, structuralize everything as it relates to empowering people to be protected. Morovia is only the head of these things, but from a structural standpoint, you don't see it. Our people are not being encouraged. ULAB, speaking about ULAB used to need to have an arm under the charitable and educational part under the 501c3 to engage things from a humanitarian standpoint and come up with, you see, when ULAB come up with data that are real in the country, then people that always support ULAB, all right? Then people always see reason to donate. But not when a political government official show up, then you want to put yourself out there. Then you mean that you're not fighting for the little guy, Moses.
Okay. Well, I want to move on back to what you wrote on your page. I'll read it for our viewers and our listeners. And yes. But I want to lay something on this whole Joy Howard Taylor stuff. Let us be careful as to not approach issues of gender-based violence, human rights violation, abuses, and other things from a holistic standpoint. Let us be careful not to do that. It must be tackled from a holistic standpoint, such as when we conduct assessments, one of the things that we consider is what are factors that are making these things to happen. So, for example, homelessness can lead to exposure to drugs. It can lead to addiction. So, in as much that we're treating someone for drug addiction, are we addressing the homelessness part of it? Are we also addressing the past trauma history? Are we also addressing the transportation? Are we also addressing maybe the support system? You know, that's a holistic approach that could provide a meaningful solution as to just addressing the the addiction and leaving the homelessness. Because when you address it temporarily, guess what? When they go on the streets, they will be vulnerable and they will see drugs and they could use it. So I just wanted us to keep that in context when we're speaking about it. But let's go to this part.
Yeah, but let me just touch on that small. You see, when you conduct need and gap analysis, is where you capture the thing and begin to streamline them.
Yes.
Because the need analysis will tell you what are the needs. The gap will tell you what need to be filled out. So that's why this thing is very important, Moses. But you're on point on that.
I agree with you too as well, conducting those different need analysis and so forth. But let's switch back to maybe politics and some of the things that are at hand for both the CDC-led government, maybe the opposition and so forth.
Yeah.
Or Liberia. You wrote here about 13 hours ago, this is what you wrote on your page. Sanctions are coming for 4 government officials. What do you mean by that?
Well, it's a wild card. Who the cafe, let them wear it. The U.S. ambassador is taking a surgical approach to what he is looking for. If you remember, on the Joseph Jenkins Rabo opinion edited, the OE-ED, he made a very important comment in there, but many Liberians didn't pay attention to it, but few did, and I think I am on the few. He said, we gave $79 million to improve or build healthcare facility across the country. That is a financial indictment in itself, because he lived in our country, he's seen it. We are government inability to provide reports on a quarterly basis after 4 years to show to you and I and your audience and any other interested Liberians or partner of Liberia to see where we were and where we are now. The people are getting very much concerned about money being given. And for me, I believe in data collection because data will provide facts. Backtracking to his statement, when the same UN ambassador came out and talked about the theft, about the LEC power theft, he said that he cannot promise that Liberia will be given a second chance or whatever chance when it comes to the Millennium Challenge program. And that fell down. So I picked on that and began to keep an eye on it. He came out a few times again and spoke about the $79 million that were given to the government. Not only the George Weah government, but on his watch, he is doing a fact-finding mission. It is not by mistake that he's going to the southeastern area because he wants to know how the people live over there. Because many times people will come on your show and other show and say the southeastern part of the country doesn't exist. So while it is true that he doesn't have a document to see how much the government is doing, physical evidence will show whether things are being used for the internal purpose. And it is not by mistake that the ambassadors of Liberia, 4 of them came together to talk about what is going on. So everything is based on corruption. There are documents out there now from the White House to every U.S. and other entity that speak about the worst corruption in the country under this government. So things are coming up, but I don't want to be the one to call names here. But I will just let you guys know that it's possible that it may come up very soon.
Thank you, Randy. So I want to move in what you said. About 2 weeks ago, the op-ed that was written by the U.S. Ambassador Michael McCarthy near Monrovia. Today or yesterday, we also see Linda Greenfield in collaboration. This is not mutually exclusive. I'm not sure if this is an international global message that is being sent. We just played former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf throwing jab at President George Weah's government that the airport was dark, so people that should have come or so forth couldn't come, or no light or whatever it is. But here is something very interesting. Linda Greenfield, who is the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, which means now we've gone global. We've left just the United States scene, we've gone global. She wrote an op-ed. Let me read what she said about Liberia really quick, and let me get your take on it. Look at what she said, or listen to what she said. Quote, I said this in her op-ed, this is on page 10. I said this as a true friend of Liberia and Liberians. Know me for being that friend. Liberia has serious problem right now, and that's taking on number of issues. Foremost among them is the issue of corruption. And for me, corruption is an act of robbery, plain and simple. It is government stealing from the people of Liberia, from the mouths of children. It takes away access to health care. It denies citizens their right to public safety. It stops young people from getting the education they deserve. It takes away the future from them. It prevents the country from having the healthy business environment that it needs to lift Liberia out of poverty. It has denied Liberia its place in history. Corruption is a democracy killer. It cannot have that in place like Liberia. What do you say, J. Randy, from a global perspective? Is President George Weah being indicted here? Is his government being indicted here?
Yeah, I mean, George Weah will not be indicted directly, but he will be held accountable for poor governance. Lena Greenfield, I had the video of that same message, and I did read what you just read. Lena Greenfield is very passionate about Liberia because she once went to school over there. She understands the culture of our people. And it was a blessing to see her going back there, working there as well. But to speak to the global issue, the whole corruption thing is on a low, high, and medium category. And she is mutually including every other government in the past, including Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. But the rates and severity of the corruption, Ellen may be low, but we may be very high. And that's where it's coming from. The U.S. ambassador, every ambassador in that country and around the world from the United States, they are tasked with working on certain projects in every country. The United States ambassador has traveled around. The United States ambassador to Liberia, Bob McCarty, has done services not only as a Peace Corps volunteer, he also served as ambassador in other West African countries, including South Africa from down south. He understands what it means to be corrupt. So one of his mission, one of his tasks, one of his goals is to make sure that whatever is harming the Liberian people is brought to light. Every time McCarty go to speak, not a day that he will miss the word corruption. That tells you that that's something that he has taken to heart. That's something that it is top of his message. Whether he having morning meeting, afternoon meeting, conference call, he reiterating that we are corrupt. Now, Mr. Weah's inability to utilize the different anti-auditing institutions in the country is where Lena Greenfield is coming from and saying that education is affected by corruption. Children food are taken from their mouth by corruption. Because people in this institution, we got the Whistleblower Act, we got the Liberia Anti-Corruption, we got the GAC. These institutions were put together and provided the tools and the framework to adequately perform. But the leaders in those roles are not really living up to their task. And if they are not living up to their task, Moses, what Lena Greenfield is talking about is a concern. And if we is not using the opportunity, then of course, the United Nations that is meant to provide safety. Because remember, the reason she spoke from the United Nations standpoint, the United Nations want for poverty to be reduced by the year 2030. They are targeting that. And they are giving more assignment to different countries. Remember, the poverty reduction program is all meant to fight corruption, to lower corruption and increase equality. And that is why she's speaking from that perspective, because it will give more weight. It will not be a single out, we are government, but it is something that not only Biden administration is concerned about, but from the United Nations as well. If you remember, Prince Johnson, when they sanctioned him, they sanctioned Prince Johnson on a date, and part of that message came through the United Nations program as well. I can't recall the specific line, but it was something that had to do with the United Nations. So when they want to grab these guys so that the U.S. cannot be wholly responsible to say U.S. using its power, they go through the United Nations. They did that to Taylor too. They did that to Prince Johnson. So this is where she's coming from. But the institution are not doing well in the country, Moses. The framework is there. The tools have been put in place. But is not caring for those things. And that's the message, Lena Greenfield. And I think at the end of that chapter, the way she pictured it is a cancer. And that cancer will go as far as destroying the country. So it is up to we to take the message and tell the Liberian people what is the next step, Moses.
So then the question becomes, does this set the stage for the sanction you alluded to as well, or is this the final straw that we're saying in America that will break the camel's back? Because we've heard other top officials from the Biden administration, whether in Africa or in America or wherever it is, allude to this. Even the House of Representatives have come up with a resolution that the corruption is. Where are we headed now? Is it that UN also would tap into this? Because the UN part of it is another aspect.
Yeah, the UN is only coming in, like I said, the UN has target. The UN since 2012, when we entered the first, since 2000, after entering into the 21st century, the United Nations now is trying to target global poverty. And the way they did it is from a structured approach. Water, climate change with regards to pollution and other areas. So the poverty reduction program became early top priority to reduce poverty. And they pump money into that country. And because Liberia was challenged, they helped us to create different financial institutions. The CIU unit at the Ministry of Finance is another organization there too that is also fighting in the government's operation. But these institutions are not productive. And America will not come in to say we want to hold Liberia accountable to some extent. They want to use what I would describe as a global support, because the federal government through the Treasury Department can begin to sanction people, but that will give them opportunity to travel to other countries as well. But if the United Nations come in where all countries are represented and understand that there are people in that government that are harming young children, taking food off their mouth, if they provide that sanction, then that will limit them to do what they want to do right now. So the strategy here is, let's take a universal approach, but the U.S. to be the driver and the champion of what is happening in Liberia, and it starts with the ambassador. But as far as we are goes, to your question, whether this is the final straw, no. This is a yellow signal now. It's not a green signal. It is a yellow signal. And if he doesn't adjust anything, they will be coming for him, not to grab him, but there will be sanction coming for the full individual that are put out there. They know themselves. They know they know that I'm talking to them. They know. But I will not be the one to call their name here, because I'm not in the authority to say that. I hope it helps answer your question.
Okay, well, that to some extent,
now I lost you now. I can't hear you now.
I think somebody call you have to go back in and come back out. Once you receive a call, that's what will happen. Randy,
hold on, Moses.
You have to go back and come back out.
Yeah.
Go out and come back.
I can hear you now. I can hear you. I removed my earpiece and plug in the charger so it lower the volume. I can hear you now. Can you hear me also?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Okay, so the last question I wanted to ask you just before maybe we we call it a day here. Amidst everything that's going on, what do you think is really wrong with our past and current leaders in the country?
They are just being simply self-centered. That's what it is. And I will expand on that. You see, when I saw Miata Formula trying to defend her brother because his name was taken out, think about today the COP. Think about other political parties in this country that had tied to Liberia. Back in the 70s, Dr. Amos Sawyer then felt that, oh, because they had a PhD and the proliferation of independent country across the continent of Africa was reaching the wildfire, instead of sitting down and really putting together a roadmap that can be sustained, they decided to create an independent group. Moja, Movement for Justice in Africa, the Progressive, and they got on a plane and went, but they came from the same country. They called themselves educated people. But because they were self-centered, they went and started to use the same Liberian people but different generation. So on the line of Tiago Gongolo, I mean the Moja, you had Tiago Gongolo coming in our ranks, you have Kofi Woos, you have Alari Tokpa them coming in our group. So Amos established himself a movement for justice in Africa along with Tokpa Natibote. Then the Progressive came. Paco Matthews, St. Jackson, Plamo Nelson, all the guys came. But they never had one common goal to move the country forward. But what they did to the Liberian people, they left your grandma, your grandpa, they left them in extreme poverty and uneducated. But they all managed to have some position in the country. Every one of them got position in the country. But what they failed to do was to bring the change that they wanted to do. What we are failing to do today is to look at how the people conducted themselves. As all Amiata formula is now. I always tell you guys that, bro, when it become a better country by 2065, you heard Amiata formula say, even by 2050, if we don't do the right thing, we will not be a better country. That means that she admitted that whatever they did in the past, it didn't work. Today, I listened to your show before coming on. You mentioned about we as Liberians are the one responsible for some of the leaders that we put in there. And because we don't pay attention, we tend to customize our political leaders' behavior and not look at what is better for us. We are repeating the same thing here. And I would say by the year 2075, maybe Yasin will still be alive and something happened to one of the leaders will be talking, oh, back in the day, we said the party was good, and then next thing you see Mama Kaba, and then you see this. History has the propensity to repeat itself. That is why when you gather data from the past, you process the data, look at the deviation, look at the mistake, the human element, look at the failure in the process, and recapture that by creating a plan that will adjust and fix what happened in the past and let's move forward. Today, I see a repeat. Sure, we are doing something wrong. You get on the text, say, oh, go pee, go sleep, because they're getting something from George Weah. Come in saying something, say, oh, come in there, oh, man, move on over there. Baka saying this. So again, different generation, the same country, different major players, and we are heading in the same direction. But only 2065 that I believe will change the game. And like you always say, I'm not going to release my secret to you. What will make 2065 an era that will begin to show that Liberia will start making a sustainable progress. But for now, it repeat my happy if they don't tap into what I believe are the right way that will sustain Liberia, Moses.
So
Selfishness.
So even beyond closed door, you will not tell me because I'll be living to 2065.
If I tell you beyond closed door, you cancel and tell people say Randy myself we and I say and then people say, but mama, you and Randy went beyond closed door because they closed the thing. They can close the door for 4 hours. They cancel and say they definitely drinking tea. We see Arab drinking tea every day. They show it on Facebook. So I don't know. But if we put a constructive plan together where people will get interested in it, because interest brings about negotiation to put things into context. So if we go beyond closed door, I will not give you the headline, but I will not give you the detail to can sound something that will put money in my pocket. You always told me,
Randy, don't give all your idea. So I take time with you, and I take time with my wife, and even those who come to support me. So I appreciate you for that, because I think I have given many information out there, but the government today, they are refusing to accept it, and we're seeing the result today. They are letting the people down. The government is underperforming. The government is underrated when it comes to leadership. That's why it is, Moses.
Well, thank you, Randy. What would be your parting comment? Because I myself, I would like to give my parting comment here, give the announcements, and we can call it a day.
Well, my parting comment is very simple. Let us support what is good for your children, then what is good for your fellow Liberian back home. If you think your child shouldn't go to bed hungry, I want you to say, I don't want another child in Liberia to go to bed hungry. If you believe in that, say, then you will only focus on the right thing, because the right thing will cross boundary lines. That's how I would say, yes. You see, I sitting there with my daughter. She coming out of that school over there. And every parent in the country will go and receive their child. I want to see the same thing happening in Liberia as well, Moses. If we didn't have that opportunity, let's make sure that we provide to other people, because life is about handing things over and giving. You see the Olympic, what the guy running ahead, the other guy coming with a long stick and give it to the other guy and say, keep going, I had done my part. That's how we build future. It's called hand over and take over. We don't have that. Thank you so much, Moses. And thank you to your audience for the opportunity.
Thank you, Randy. Let me give the announcements and my closing part coming here, and then we'll both head out of here together.
All right.
On Thursday, unless something happens that will call for an emergency show, we'll be back on Thursday. On Thursday, we'll be here with Abdullah Kiatama. We're going to be discussing the importance of voters' education. Why should voters be educated?
Did you say Abdullah Kiatama?
Yes.
Is that the guy that used to be on Spoon?
Yes.
I would love to call in. And yeah, let me get him homework. Let him tell us why he took a leave of absence, and let him tell us why he decided to isolate himself. Is it because they closed the door? I mean, I'm just saying because I'm real. Remember what I told you. What is good for my children in America is you also, because Ketama has been a strong advocate. Go back and look at his old video and see how courageous and entrenched he was. But to just go quiet like that, we in America here, Moses, you are a teacher here, you know we are told to tell the truth. Ketama cannot just turn his light off and we just accept it like that. That's J. Randy. So I would want him to talk about that a little bit. Just for FYI, it's called holding people accountable. I hope I'm not scaring you away. If I was not calling, I would just wait.
No. I don't think Kiatama will shy away from the question. I don't want to speak on behalf of him. He will choose to answer or not. But I think it's a good question. It's a good concern that you're raising, you know. But our conversation will focus on the importance of voter education and the task at hand for the next president. Because mind you, not only that the CDC-led government is stacking up the debt pile for the next generation, for the next leaders, but they're also screwing up the country to wherein it will take real solid work to get some things back on track, to be very honest. There is no joke about it. They're breaking down all of the systems. Things, you know, the country is so polarized. There's this huge division, you know. It used to be tribal line or whatever it is. It used to be the huge division for whatever it is, you know, whatever it was on tribal line. But now it has become not only sycophantic, it has become political. Everything is politicized. The lies, the praise and worship us, and so forth. So it's interesting that we should have these kind of conversations to let people know where we are. And the bad thing about it is, you know, the younger generation they've also been groomed into this. Imagine, God forbid, your children seeing you praise and worshiping another man. What do you expect? They will think that's the way of life. They will fall in line because that's how we learn. The younger generation are adapting these things. Wherein young children, I watch a video, you know, and I see some little children between the ages of, I think, 5 and 10. I see these children are gathered together and they're singing Zegwe, Zegwe, and giving these CDC slogans, and people are laughing. Well, you know what he said to me? when I watched that video, I was very sad because these children think this is the way of life.
The future.
They think that's what they should do. So at a very young age, imagine 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or maybe 12 or 15, they've learned to navigate the sycophantic way of living. So they think back, and when they do that, they're doing battle cry and they're getting $5. They're doing battle cry and they collect money for them and move to the next house. You see how that is transcending from one generation to another, one group of people to another. So it's a problem. It's a problem in itself. When I listened to Chucky Taylor the other time, one of the last times I listened to him, he talked about sycophants. Can you imagine 10, 15 years ago, there was sycophants? In this time in modern age, it's even exacerbated with social media. Because like you said, somebody will see you talking something serious, stating the facts. Instead of then countering your argument and providing the facts, they'll say, oh, go pee and sleep. Oh, you jealous. Oh, you this. Oh, you that. Because they have been positioned. And guess what happened? Can you imagine these politicians will quote you God and say, when you made this kind of comment, take a picture and send it to me, I will send you $5 scratch card. I will send you $2 scratch card. And they do it, they send it, and they send a small scratch card, and that's how they survive, and that's how they live. They have normalized these things. It is a problem. It's a serious problem where our people have become a bunch of sycophants, and it's problematic. So we'll discuss some of these things right now. On Friday, we'll continue the session with the mental health and wellness. It will be at 7 p.m. this time around. Eastern time, I have 1 hour delay because I have to do something within that 1 hour. It will be on 7 p.m. So definitely we're going to have the show on Friday. Please tune in. Our topic is intimacy and isolation. You know, we've been talking about intimacy, Jay Randy. A lot of our people don't get it. They think once you say intimacy, that means that sexual activities.
Yeah.
That is the mindset we have. People don't even know that children and parents can have intimacy where they have a bond, they have a relationship. You know. Also, they don't even know that people can have different intimacy, with people or so forth. It don't necessarily have to be romantic, but intimacy is very important. But we're going to talk about intimacy and we're going to talk about isolation. How does isolation even destroy your life, destroy any relationship you're going to be in? Why some people are very angry. Some women are just angry. Some men are angry as well.
Of course.
Either they've been isolated all through their lives or some things happen during their life. We'll talk about some of these things because, again, it goes down to things that we're taught, things how we learn, and what we experienced in our life. So, yes. So we'll be talking about the importance of voters' education so that voters can know what to do and what not to do. And we'll be talking about what the tasks ahead. Even if George Weah, God forbid, wins the next election, we'll be talking about the tasks ahead. And the funny part about it, CDC have put a word together, a new slogan. It's not hope for change anymore. They got a stupid thing passing around Facebook, writing, "We will fix it." We will fix what? These people are sick-minded. How can you come and mess? Who told you it takes people who mess up something to fix it? Who told you that? Who told you that?
That's another topic. That's another topic for another day.
Randy, go look on this sycophantic person worshiper. I'm seeing people writing, "We will fix it." Weah himself needs to be fixed. He needs help. How can a broken person fix people or fix something? How possible is that?
I know, right?
Like it don't make any sense. You're not okay. Then he said somebody said, "Oh, I'll make you okay." How is that? I'm still trying to wrap my head around this. When I read some of these things this morning, I felt very offended that these people who don't understand this thing think that this is a joke, that we will fix it. Fix what? Fix what? He promised change. 6 years, he exacerbated the situation. Took our debt up the ceiling. Weah himself needs to be fixed. He needs to be fixed. And I see them passing around talking about, "Oh, Weah will fix it. Weah will do this. Weah will do that." Fix what? That's why I wrote on some of them pages. I said for him to come and steal more, to be corrupt, and you then be ready there. You just jealous of what? I was like,
don't mind the rhetoric. I mean, don't matter thing.
Oh, he's jealous. Oh, he's jealous. Jealous for what? Me and we are not on the same woman. Me and we are not living in the same place. I don't want weird job. I don't go to the place where I can go. I don't smoke the thing we are smoke. I don't drink the thing we are drink.
It's all about distraction. So don't
What
play
kind of
into
foolishness
it.
is that?
It's all about distraction.
The person jealous of we are. What kind of Sonny is
I've
that?
been there and done that. So my advice to you is don't play into it.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, what's wrong with these people? Already, thank you.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, we will not take calls today.
Yeah.
I know some people will be mad at me that we didn't put the number up to take calls, but because of time constraints, we'll not be able to take calls. But thank you, Randy. We'll follow you in the different research you've done, but we'll call it a day. But this song, Randy, I've been trying to get an interpretation. So let me play for 1 second and see if you can get an interpretation. Just 1 second, okay? Please.
Okay.
Before you leave, I just want an interpretation. Randy, what you say about this song? Somebody told me something. I asked you about this song.
Honestly, I couldn't hear the song.
You couldn't hear it? Okay, I will send the song to you.
What is the title of the song?
I don't even know what is the title of the song.
Is that the one where they say they lied to us?
No. It says Teddy. Hold on. Teddy. Hold on. I gotta look at the name here.
I don't know why I couldn't hear the song though.
Hold on, let me look at the title.
Okay.
Hold on, let me look at the title, I beg you.
Oh, it says tip for song. Yeah.
It's something about Teddy, something I'm not sure. I don't
Can you play again? Let me hear it because my screen is telling me to tip this sound. Try again, let's see where we'll play.
Yeah, let's because this song here, if you not interpret this song here now, then we'll have to hold you in contempt.
All right, let me just stop for sound.
Okay, you got it now, right?
Yeah. Yes, I got it. And it's I would say one of the best songs that I really love to listen to. But I think you hold me in contempt on that I can go to my left line. Yes, I have to go to my left line. Yeah, so as long as you hold me in contempt and say, look, you can be built out, then I can go to my left line and say, hey, what is the interpretation of this? So if I'm given the opportunity to speak to my in-laws, they'll be able to help me up. So maybe the next time we meet, why don't we do this?
So you'll be let go for today. The next time we meet, hopefully, you can have that interpretation. You know how when you're playing the I think Monopoly, you can get the get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm lucky to get one today.
Yeah, you get one, get out of jail free card. So get out, go do your research, come by and let us know what's up.
I thank you so much. And I thank you for all your people there too, Moses. Thank you so much, man. God bless you guys and bye to everyone. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Love.
Yeah, it's
Find a friend like me. Find a friend like me. If you not want to be